Hi, this is a Yin class designed to stretch out the entire body. For me, Yin is a practice that I use to manage pain. It's also sometimes a really tough practice, even though all we really do is lie down in relaxing poses for long durations. Sometimes when we're stretching deeply, it can become a little bit difficult, especially in the mind. So as we move through these poses today, let yourself breathe in any way that feels comfortable for you. You can breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose the entire time, or in through the mouth the entire time. Recommended props today are a strap, a blanket, 2 blocks, and a bolster. So let's get started. And we're simply going to start off lying down on our backs. You're just trying to help me out. So when you start off, come down onto your back and bend your knees as though you're getting ready for bridge pose. And then let your right knee fall out to the right. Slide your right foot underneath the left knee, bringing your heel a little bit closer towards your left butt cheek. And then you might grab hold of your right foot with your left hand to help draw the heel a little bit closer up. And take your right arm into a cactus shape. Let the right shoulder slide down the back away from your ear. And then if you're noticing that you're opening your ribs up quite a lot, then lift your butt up, tilt it towards the heel, set it back down. And then here you are. And then start to breathe. Encourage your right thigh and your right knee towards the ground as you gently lift your right front hip point towards the low ribs. You can start to turn the right shoulder up and gently press the right hand into the ground. Breathe slowly and deeply. One thing that might start to happen in any of these poses is that you might start to tense up in different areas. So if you're noticing that you're met with a lot of tightness in your quad, in your hip, in your shoulder, or even in your right side, notice the different places where you might start to tense up as well, like maybe in your neck and your jaw. Start by relaxing your face and unhinge the jaw. Let your neck soften, and you might even turn your chin from shoulder to shoulder. So don't feel as though you need to lie perfectly still. If you ever feel like you need to introduce a little bit of movement, you can. Less than 1 minute to go. And start to relax completely within the pose, no longer trying to press down. And slowly to come out of this, slide your right knee back out to the side. Lift it back up, place your foot down. And then go ahead and extend the right leg down to the mat. Flex and point through the foot a couple of times. And then rebend the knee, place your foot down. Let your left knee now fall out to the side. Slide the left foot underneath the right knee, and you might reach towards the foot, grab hold of it, and take the heel up towards your butt. Left arm now into a cactus shape. And then slide your shoulder blade down the back away from your ears so that you're giving yourself some good space already in your neck. And then notice if that caused you to stick your front ribs out like you're in a little back bend. Lift your butt up, tilt it towards your heel, set it back down. And then once more, encourage the your left thigh and your left knee towards the ground as you lift your left front hip point towards the low ribs. As you slide the shoulder blade down the back, feel as though you're turning the left shoulder head down onto the ground. You might feel a deeper stretch in your armpit and around the back of the shoulder. And then you can lightly press your forearm and your wrist into the mat as well. But I would encourage you to let the fingertips curl in towards the palm. With the right arm, you can turn your bicep up and let the shoulder blade snuggle in. And then breathe in any way that feels comforting to you. And so in active forms of yoga, we teach that you breathe at an even pace in and out through the nose. And that's for lots of different reasons. In Yin Yoga, however, our main focus is to stretch into deeper connective tissues. And so for that, we need to enter into a relaxed state. So let yourself breathe in any way that feels good for you. And like I said at the beginning, that might mean that you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Could mean that you breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And for me, most days, it means that I'm breathing in and out of the mouth. Another way to help you release tension within this pose would be to push your belly out with every inhale and let it slowly fall down with every exhale. Allow yourself to relax completely within the pose, releasing any gripping, any tension. And then release through the hold of your foot if you had it. Slide your left knee out, bring the foot back up, place the foot down, and then extend the left foot forward. Flex and point through the toes a couple of times. And then find your strap. Loop the strap around the ball mound of the big toe, the pinky toe of the right foot, and extend the foot up to the sky. And you can keep your left knee bent for this position. And what you want to feel is a stretch behind the calf and the hamstring. So you might already feel it by lifting the foot up. Your knee might have a deep bend in it, but send the right hip away from the ribs and gently press up through the ball mound of the big toe, the pinky toe, and curl the right big toe towards your face. Notice all the different places that you might want to tense up as you start to stretch into this area. Let the shoulders rest against the ground, and you can start to bend the elbows to take them to the ground as well. Your quad wants to engage, you can relax it. And send your breath behind the leg. And try to keep your knee and your toes in the same line with each other. And maybe as you start to stretch, start to feel a little bit more open, and you can straighten out the leg little by little. If you're already quite open, you might gently draw the foot closer in towards your face, keeping your sitting bones turned towards the ground. And so when we think of stretching our hamstrings behind the leg, we're not usually thinking about stretching into the glute as well, but I'd encourage you to start finding a little bit of a stretch there as well. So taking your mind to your right butt cheek, keeping your sitting bones turned down, as you start to press up through the heel and take the toes a little bit closer towards the face. Now you might feel the stretch from your heel, maybe even starting from the big toe, traveling across the bottom of the foot, down the heel, down the leg, and into your glute. Unclench your jaw, relax your neck and your shoulders, and only use as much strength in your forearms as is required to keep your fingers clasped around your strap. More seconds. Slowly begin to rebend the knee, remove the strap from the foot, and place the right foot down. And then just start to observe the sensations that come up in the leg. For me, my right leg feels pretty warm after doing that. There's a warming sensation. Just take a moment and acknowledge it. And then draw the left knee in towards your chest, loop the strap around the ball mount of the big toe and the pinky toe, extend the left leg up to the sky, and bend your elbows enough so that you can take them down to the ground, and send the left hip away from your rib cage as you start to straighten out through the leg as best as you can. And in Yin Yoga, different from our active practices, we're not really so concerned with alignment. However, there are certain alignment cues that would help you into a deeper stretch and also just into a safer space. So try to make sure that your left knee stays lined up with your middle two toes. And we're lightly pressing up through the ball mound of the big toe and the pinky toe, curling the big toe down towards the knee. And keep sending the left hip away from the ribs. Breathing in any way that feels comfortable for you. Relax your face, your jaw, neck, your shoulders. Send the breath behind the left leg. And then for those of you who are a little bit more tight, feel free to keep the bend in the left knee. For those of you who feel more open, you can start to guide the foot closer in towards your face. But everybody keep your sitting bones turning down towards the ground. And as you, no matter where you are, encourage the foot towards the face, or at least intend to bring it there, you can feel the stretch maybe starting from the bottom of the big toe, traveling across the bottom of your foot, around your heel, down your leg, and down to your left glute. Try to relax the left quad. When it starts to feel like it's too much, we can always give in and give up. Or we can remember that all of this is just a passing phase. And sometimes when I'm in some of these tough poses, or ones that feel very tight, I'm thinking, oh no, did I forget to set the timer? Every now and again I will check, and sure enough I did set the timer. So stay with your breath. Remember that it will all be over soon. Less than 30 seconds to go. And then slowly rebend your knee, remove the strap from the foot, set the left foot down. And you can set your strap off to the side. And then once again, acknowledge the feelings that have arisen in your left leg. And now let's cross our right ankle over the left thigh, just underneath the knee. So we're in a figure 4. And all we're going to do from here is let this entire shape fall over to the left. So your left thigh, your right foot will fall to the left, to the ground. Notice if your right knee wants to fall in towards you, keep it pressing away so your knee points straight up to the sky. Take your right arm back into a cactus shape, and for some of you, maybe you want to take the hand underneath your head. I like to do this sometimes. And then once again, slide the right shoulder blade down the back away from your ear. And press the right elbow into the ground if you have the hand behind your head. If you're feeling like this is quite deep, you'll stay. If you need a little bit of support on your for your knee to stay pointed up, you'll take the left hand and just gently press it into the right thigh. Some of you might like the way it feels to grab hold of the right ankle and slide it in towards your hip a little bit more. This is one of my very favorite poses. I love the way it feels stretching into the glute, into the outer hip, and into the low back. There's also a stretch that you can feel on the right side of your body as we're in a little bit of a spinal twist. And the shoulder stretch is also really great as well. If you want to get in a little bit of a neck stretch, take your right arm back into a cactus shape if it wasn't there already. Turn your chin to the left and tilt it in towards your collarbone. Lift up through the back of the skull. And then if you're met with a lot of tightness, you might find that you're scrunching up in the face. Try to relax your face. Starting first with the space in between your eyebrows. Feel it spreading away. Your eyelids will relax, unscrunching from around the eyeballs. If you're flaring your nostrils, relax them. You can keep your lips touching, but let them be soft. Your neck relaxes. chest releases. And feel your spine slowly lengthening as you relax into your belly. Pushing your belly out on every inhale. Feeling it fall back down with every exhale. And if you had hold of your right ankle, slowly slide it back down towards your knee. And draw your belly button in as you lift your legs back up into center. Extend the right foot up, and then place the foot down. Then moving over onto the opposite side right away, cross your left ankle over the right thigh just underneath the knee, and let the shape fall over to the right. So your right thigh comes to the ground, left foot comes to the ground, and we want our knee to stay pointing straight up. So some of you take your left arm into a cactus shape, some of you left hand underneath the head as you press your elbow down. Some of you are pressing your right hand into the right thigh to help keep the knee pointing up. And others of you who want more will take the right hand onto the ankle, slide it in towards the hip. For the next stretch, left arm is in cactus, turn your chin towards the right collarbone and lift up through the back of the skull. And most importantly, when you're here, just continue to breathe. Remember what I said before, that when we're in a pose that feels like it's difficult or like it's so much, oftentimes we want to listen to the voice in our head that's telling us that we have to give up, that we need to stop and move on. But when you let yourself breathe, you might notice that actually this moment is important. It's exactly what you need. Even if it's uncomfortable, you start to stretch into these areas, a lot of emotions can come up. It's not necessarily because we store emotions in specific parts of our bodies, but it's just because our bodies feel emotions. And so then the sensations that come up in your body might remind you of how you felt in certain situations. And without realizing it, you might start to react in your mind the way that you reacted in stressful situations. So try to remember that right now is not then. Right now is different. You can breathe through the discomfort and let it open you up. You continue to search your body for different places that you might be tensing. Always start from the top, from the crown of your head. Travel down the face, your neck, the front of your body, the back of your body. Let your fingers curl in towards the palm. Push the belly out with every inhale. Relax even deeper with every exhale. And then if you had hold of your ankle, release, slide it back down towards your knee, lift your legs back up, and place the left foot back down beside the right. Extend your feet forward, and then take both heels over to the right side of the mat. Press into your heels and scoot your booty all the way over to the left side of your mat, and then press into your elbows. Lift your shoulders up, take them to the right. So your heels are to the right side of the mat, your hips are to the left side of the mat, and your shoulders are to the right side of the mat. So you're making a little bit of a banana curve with your body. And then let's lift up the left hand, thumb touches the ground, and then bend the elbow, touch your right shoulder. Lift up the right arm, bend the elbow, lift up your left shoulder, and touch the left shoulder with your right elbow. Lift up the left ankle, cross it over the right ankle, and point your toes straight up. So banana pose. You should feel the deep stretch all along the left side of your body, but you might feel it a little bit deeper in different parts. So for me, I feel this a lot more deeply in the place just above my left hip. So right in the side abdominal region, around the left hip, just above the left glute. And those muscles there, your low back muscles, are the quadratus laborum, commonly referred to as QL. So sometimes we'll say if you feel something in your low back, well, it's not very good, but you definitely want to feel a stretch there. So in this case, feeling sensation there is good. But then if you notice that that sensation is feeling a little intense, you're very tight there, start to observe the other places where you tense up. And I was just noticing that I was scrunching my collarbones up towards my chin, so that might be a good place to start relaxing. Let the collarbones fall away from the face. And then as you do that, you might bring a peaceful expression onto your face. Whatever that might look like for you. If you're ever feeling like you're a little bit more open and you want to know what it would feel like to stretch a little bit deeper, you can keep your toes pointing straight up and start to press the ankles towards each other. Lift your kneecaps up as you press your thighs down closer towards the mat. Start to lift your heart up a little bit more as you encourage the elbows towards the ground. And then once you've found a deeper stretch in that position, you can relax your body again. And slowly start to come out of the pose. Start by uncrossing the left ankle from the right. And step it all the way to the left side of the mat. Press into your heels, lift your hips up, and take yourself into the center of the mat. And lie down flat, letting your feet flop open. Bring the palms by your side into a Shavasana for a moment. Notice how the left side of the body feels compared to the right side of the body. It's quite a deep stretch. So if you need to take an extra moment before we move on to the opposite side, let yourself do so. And take your right heel over towards the left heel. Press into your heels, lift your booty up. Take it over to the right side of the mat. Lift your shoulders up, scooch them over to the left. So heels to the left, hips to the right, shoulders to the left. Lift your right arm up, bend the elbow, touch your your left shoulder. And then bend the left elbow, touch your right shoulder. Cross the right ankle over the left and point your toes straight up. Relax the chest away from your chin. Find a peaceful expression for your face. And breathe. One side of the body might be more tense than the other side. So notice as you move through each side, one side versus the other side, how the sensations differ. I'll share for me personally, this side doesn't feel as intense as the other side. Even though I tend to have more tension on the right side of my body, we're stretching a little bit more into the right abdominals, side abdominals, and for me, I don't have as much tension there as much as I have tension in the right leg and the right arm. So although we might think, oh, we carry most of our tension in one part of the body, you'll see that you find tension in different and unexpected places. And so as you explore and you notice these places where the tension is met, don't think that, oh, there's something wrong with me or I'm bad. Just let it be an opening at the possibilities. You can think, well, why am I tense there? What sort of activities do I engage in where I'm using my body in a way that would bring tension to this place? And then you can start to find those activities that you're doing. And then with loving awareness, you can say, you know what, I think that I will start to do it this way instead. Being more mindful of our movements, not only while we're on the yoga mat, but also when we're off the yoga mat. And so when we think of our active practices, we're always trying to think of ways where we can become stronger within a pose. And when we're off the yoga mat, those poses have made our body stronger so that common everyday tasks are easier. When we can bend down and pick something up without crunching our back, without having to heave to lift something up. And then slowly start to make your way out. Lift your right foot, uncross it, take it over to the right. Uncross the hands from behind the shoulders. Press your elbows down, lift your butt up, take yourself into the center of the mat and rest in a Shavasana with your hands by your side for a moment. And then bend your left knee, place the foot down, take your right hand out to the side next to your shoulder. Take the left hand straight up to the sky, lower it all the way over to your right hand, and turn over onto your stomach. And keep your left knee out to the side, and then this is where you might like your blanket. I like to put the blanket underneath the left knee. And so bring the front of your pelvis down onto the ground. Prop yourself up onto your forearms and turn your right forearm at an angle. Make sure there's enough space underneath your right arm so that you can slide the left arm all the way across with the palm facing up. So we'll start to stretch into our shoulders in a different way. And you can bring your right forehead down onto the right forearm, but if it feels like it's a lot, you'll find one of your blocks and put your head on top of the block. You can even use your bolster. And so the left knee is bent out to the side, and we're stretching into the front inner groin. And the left arm is reaching underneath the right, and we're stretching into the top of the left shoulder. And let the left shoulder blade slide down the back away from your ear. You might even turn the right ear towards the right shoulder a little bit to get a little bit more of a stretch into your neck as well. So I'm always thinking of different ways that I can sneak in a little bit more of a stretch in different parts of my body. And the neck is one of those places. Let your right fingertips curl in. And you can gently press the elbow down to the ground as you send the left shoulder blade down the back to feel the deeper stretch in your left shoulder. If you're not quite feeling the stretch in the hip, then start to send your left front hip point towards the ground even more as you think about hugging the left femur bone into the socket. The top of the right foot and the top of the right knee is resting onto the mat. And then remember your tools if you're met with a lot of tightness. Push your belly down into the ground as you inhale. And then feel your body deflating as you exhale. Sometimes for me, the tension starts to move into my right arm. And so when that happens, I find that naturally I want to make a fist, so I undo the hand. And start to relax the right bicep and tricep. And that only will cause me to relax even more into the pose. Remember that there's still a certain level of discomfort attached to all of these poses, so there's a difference between discomfort and pain. If it hurts, then you can come out of it, but if it's simply uncomfortable, then just breathe. And press into the right forearm, and slide the left arm out from underneath. And then just lean over to the right a little bit so you can bring the left knee in. Let's get ourselves set up for the next side, but we won't move on to the next side right away. Simply take the blanket and move it over to the right so that it's ready for you when you do get to this pose on the opposite side. But we'll stretch into our shoulder the opposite way. Open wing pose. This one should feel really good. You've got two options. So if you're very tight, and it would be a lot for you, take your left hand out to the side in line with your shoulder. If you know that you want to move into a deeper stretch, then you'll bring your left arm into a cactus shape. No matter which shape you're in with your arm, turn your gaze to the right, so away from the arm. Take your right hand next to your chest and push off of the right hand to roll onto your left side, stepping the right foot behind you, stacking right foot on top of the left, or resting the right knee on the ground in front of you. And so remember that just because you've chosen a particular shape doesn't mean that you're stuck to it. If you chose the bent arm cactus version and you think, this is too much, I need to move back, then you can go ahead and roll back onto your stomach and re-extend your left arm.
Oftentimes we think we make a choice and we're stuck with it forever. It really isn't the case. Sometimes that fear of making the wrong choice will move us into a situation where we make no choice at all. We don't do anything and we feel stuck. So it's better to make that choice and then think, oh, you know what? I made the wrong choice. Then you just make a new choice. And of all the choices that we've made throughout our lives, here we are in this moment. And if you could think back to a moment where you thought, you know, I think that I made the wrong choice at one time, you might realize that now it's really not, it's just inconsequential. Here you are, living your life best way you can. And the past really isn't there anymore. You want to deepen this stretch. Start to slide the left shoulder blade down the back and feel as though you can turn your armpit to look at your left ear. And that might feel quite intense. So if you find it and you think it's okay, you stay for a little bit. If you find it and you think, it's not so okay, then relax your arm again. And then slowly start to roll back onto your stomach. Make sure that you bring your chest and your hips square onto the ground. Pause for a moment. Let the body reset. And then slide your right knee out to the side whenever we place our blanket there. We're so nice to ourselves. Prop yourself back up onto your forearms and turn your left arm at an angle. Bring the right palm face up and slide the arm underneath the left, taking it across the body as best as you can. And then you'll rest your forehead down onto the left forearm or onto your block. Slide the right shoulder blade down the back away from your ear and let the right fingertips curl in towards the palm. Remember how I said before that these poses might vary side to side. And it's very true when we're stretching into our arms as well. If you're right-handed or left-handed, it's not that important, but just remember that even though you might be right hand dominant to write with, you still use your left arm for other things. And similarly, if you're left hand dominant to write with, you still use your right hand for other things. So notice if it feels a little bit more intense on this side or if it felt more intense on the opposite side. Remember that you don't have to force yourself down into any of these poses to feel the stretch. Let yourself feel the stretch wherever you are. And then you can gently encourage your body where you'd like it to go. But simply breathe and allow your body to open up in its own time. Never trying to force something to occur. Remembering that we will never encounter a positive experience. We try to force something. You want to feel a little bit more of a stretch in your arm. Press the right elbow down as you send the right shoulder blade away from the ear. You might even turn the left ear towards the left shoulder a little bit. For a deeper stretch in the hip, Press your right hip point down as you plug the right femur bone into the socket. And for everybody, keep the top of the left foot and the left knee on the ground. Allow yourself to relax completely in the pose for these last 30 seconds. And then prop yourself up onto your left forearm, slide the right arm out from underneath, and slide the right knee in, bring your toes to touch, and then extend your right arm out to the side in line with your shoulder. So decide if this is going to be enough, having the right hand in line with the shoulder, or if you'd like to bring your right arm into a cactus shape. And then push off the left hand to roll onto your right side, stepping the left foot behind you, stacking the left foot on top of the right, or bending the left knee forward. So that's what I'm going to do on this side. I didn't do it on the first side, but remember that you don't have to do the same thing. It feels a little bit tighter for me with my right arm. I put my right arm into a cactus shape because I know that I can deal with the deepness of the stretch. Taking my right arm straight out is not going to be as deep of a stretch as I need or want. If it feels okay, you want to go further, slide the right shoulder blade down the back, turn the armpit forward as though you could turn it to look at your ear. And you'll press the right hand down into the ground. That might feel too intense for some of you. If that's the case, relax the arm. And breathe in a way that feels comforting for you. All sorts of sensations might arise when you're in these poses. Sometimes you might feel the sensation like pins and needles in the part of your body that you're stretching. If that's the case, it doesn't really mean that there's anything wrong. It just means that the blood flow is being constricted. See if you can breathe through it. Remember that when you come out of the pose, the blood will rush back into that area, and that sensation will be relieved. Just about 30 more seconds. And then slowly begin to roll back onto your stomach. Taking a moment lying flat. flat on your belly. And then press into your hands, lift yourself up onto your hands and knees, and we'll take child's pose. We'll use the bolster and the blanket. Spread your blanket out so you've got room for your knees when you take them wide. And then bring your bolster the vertical way in front of you and snuggle the bolster in between your thighs. So there's a space in between your groin, your pelvis, and the bolster. Take hands onto your thighs, lift your chest up tall, and begin to walk your spine forward. Imagine that you can roll the front of your body down vertebrae by vertebrae the way you can roll down your spine. And turn your head to either side. So it's really nice with the bolster, so you can feel your body's weight relaxing around it. You feel a deeper stretch around the back side of your ribs, even into your shoulders. And for now, since we've been stretching so deeply into our shoulders, I recommend having the hands reaching forward. Some of you would like to continue stretching into your shoulders. You can take the hands back and rest them on top of your thighs. That might put a little bit more pressure on your knees. So in that case, I definitely recommend that you use the blanket underneath your knees. And if it feels like it's too much, then you take the hands forward. Another thing you can do is take the hands underneath the bolster if you need a little bit more lift for your head. All of these poses can be personalized to better suit your body's needs, so do in this position what you would need to do to bring you comfort. Start to turn your head over to the opposite side. And just let your head relax into the weight. And slowly begin to bring yourself back up. Slide the bolster a little bit further forward, and then find your blocks. Some of you might not even use the blocks, but it is just nice to have them just in case. So turn yourself around and sit down right in front of the bolster. And opposite of what we just did, roll your spine down on top of it, resting your head down. And then blocks down to the side, bring the soles of the feet together, let your knees open up, and your thighs will rest on top of the blocks. So I've got mine on the blocks turned the flattest way. Some of you might like them medium, some of you might not like them at all, you can get rid of them. Some of you might choose to extend your feet forward or to point the knees straight up. Press into your elbows, bring the shoulder blades in towards one another, and take your hands straight out to the side in line with your shoulders. If that feels like it's a lot, then you can take the hands down at an angle
Some of you might want still even more for your shoulders. You could clasp opposite elbow points over your head. I don't recommend staying here for too long as we're starting to get to the end of the practice. So at this point, we really want to focus on the opening for the front of the body. So taking the hands overhead actually can feel pretty good if you know that you are open. But if you're pretty tight, then I would suggest having the hands by the side. You can still find that stretch across the front of your body. And then start to send the pubic bone down towards the ground. Feel as though you've got a pair of pants on that are a little bit too tight, and you're trying to draw everything in to get the last button buttoned up. Draw your front ribs in towards one another. Send your sternum up towards your chin. Take the chin away from the chest. Take a deep breath in, feel everything expanding. And then relax. If you had clasped opposite elbow points, switch which arm is on top. And then if you want to keep the hands overhead, keep them. Otherwise, you're ready to take them down. Take them back by your side. If you weren't there already. Start to feel the weight of your body relaxing around the bolster even more. You can stay like this a little bit longer than you can. Otherwise, start to lift your knees back up. Roll over to either side to come off of the bolster and take it forward. The blocks off to the side. You can sit up for a moment and take the blanket out from underneath you. And I like to put that at the top of the mat to rest my head on top of. And then take the bolster and put horizontally where your knees and thighs would be. Scoot yourself up, place the knees and thighs on top, roll your spine down, rest your head on top of the blanket, take your hands out to the side, palm face up. Allow yourself to relax completely in Shavasana. Start first by relaxing the space in between your eyebrows. Feel the relaxing sensation trickle down your temples and your neck. Feel it as it moves across the collarbones, down your shoulders, your biceps, your forearms. Feel it brushing against the palms of your hands as your fingertips curl in. Feel your sides relaxing, the front of your hips and your glutes. Feel the relaxing sensation passing through your legs, brushing the tops of the feet, and extending out through the tips of your toes. Release into deep relaxation.
Stay here for as long as you can. I recommend at least 10 minutes.
Thank you so much for practicing with me today, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. May we all know peace. Namaste.